On today's episode of the Big Douglas Show, I welcomed Hog Farmer Chris and Hog Farmer Joe, two members of the Hog Farmers, who are a charitable organization that wildly roots for the Commanders. It was interesting to hear how they got started, what they've got coming up next, and ways that we can all help in what is undoubtedly an important mission, which is solving childhood cancer. Without further ado, here's my conversation with the Hog Farmers. All right, super excited to have two of the hog farmers with us. I tried to get them all for you. Apparently, it is impossible. I pulled all the strings I had. I tried to get some other strings that other people had pulled. It didn't work. But we're very excited to have Joe and Chris here. Fellas, how are you?
What's up?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Let's start from the very beginning. The charity, whose idea was it? It's interesting, most people know at this point that I broke my neck in a diving accident back in 09 and had thought about doing an LLC to kind of get in there. I was living at DC at the time and I thought, maybe this is a good way to get it. Is hard to get an LLC formed just to get it off the ground. So whose idea was it? How did it kind of get started? Take me through that, Chris.
Well, first, an LLC and a 501c3 are two different things. An LLC is more for of the business, and a 501c3 is a nonprofit. So we're a 501c3. But I think it was just a couple of guys, a couple of us. I think it's been 5 years now. Obviously, we're fans of the team, and I specifically wanted to dress up a little more than just wearing a jersey. So I started to do that. And then a couple other guys followed suit. And when we were doing that, we ended up helping a child and her parents. She was actively going through leukemia, called Abby's Army. Their parents run a charity. So we ended up raising $5,000 for them, along with a couple other fans. And we did it at the draft party. I think that's the year we drafted Haskins and Montez Sweat. Mm-hmm. So after we did that, we just felt really good about it. Our look kind of paid homage to the Hogettes. So it's just we really want to continue to give back to the community. And we felt like the biggest way we could do that and to make the biggest impact was to have a 501c3. So we started it. When we originally got it, we just did a couple raffles to earn money to get, all the things, because it takes a lot to get started. Legally. Yeah, there's a lot of legalities and paperwork and certificates you have to go through annually to keep, because the state doesn't play right. We're using, you guys are donating your personal money to us, so we take it serious. Takes it serious. Anyway, so we did that, and now we're on year 5, almost going 6, and here we are now.
Joe, the mission is beautiful on its face to help childhood cancer. It's got to also be difficult because the numbers just show that not everybody's going to make it. And I had a good buddy from college whose young son died from blastoma. And so it's an interesting thing that you do dynamically because the highs have to feel so great and be so high. And then that you've also signed up for a gig that the lows are going to be really low.
Yeah, absolutely. We do it probably a little different than a lot of charities do. We like to build that personal relationship with the family. So we have messenger chats on Facebook with, almost every child's name. So we can talk one-on-one with the family, and they can talk to us pretty much whatever they want. So, we build these close relationships. And like you said, when you lose somebody, it feels like you lose one of your own, you know what I mean? Especially some of the ones, at one time, we were doing kids across the nation. So some, we didn't get to meet, but when you get to meet them and you do stuff with them, you do stuff with their family, you go out to eat, and then the next time you see them, they don't look the same and it's not looking good. And then the next thing you hear, they passed away. And it's tough, man. It's tough. we went through a little spell where I think we lost a kid like three months in a row or something like that, and then personal losses in our family with people with cancer. Chris's dad, buddy of mine recently, Jeff's brother passing away. So it all ties in. We're human, so that part, the lows are tough to deal with sometimes, but the highs, man, makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? If you can put a smile on one kid's face, man, that feels so good. So, you know, we'll take the lows to get those highs.
Chris, tell me a little bit about the draft experience you went out this year. It looked pretty fun. How many of you guys made it out there?
We all made it out there,
Okay.
Which made it probably the top 5 of everything team related. And one of the things I always say, it's not always where you're at; it's like who's around you, where you are, and having all those guys there was amazing, man. One, I'm a big fan of football, so and other fans. There were a ton of other fans there that I know, so meeting some of them was cool, and just kicking it with all the guys and getting to represent the team. And it was awesome, man. We cheered them on. We got to see all the behind the scenes stuff from the draft. I got to, because it was part of the fan of the year thing that I won last year. I got to go behind the stage and where they were. It was awesome. Behind the stage, they had like a connecting communication with the war room. So I knew the pick like 10 minutes before they announced it. So they had like a bunch of jerseys. They had game worn, not game worn, like the game U style jerseys back there of the Commanders, and they had all the guys that were at the draft. They had their names to be ready to be stamped, so I could take their jersey out and award it to the player.
Okay.
But obviously Emmanuel Forbes was not there, so they're like, I'm back there ready to get the jersey, and they're like, all right, you guys picked Emmanuel Forbes, Mississippi. I'm like, and they're like, all right, now you got to get out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I rushed back and ran back with the guy so we could scream, when the TV comes on you, they all do that. All right, your team's picking, so y'all be ready. So it was an awesome trip.
Joe, what's the process to become a hog farmer? I know you've added, like in recent years, Keith became part of the group, and I know from talking to him, it's changed his life. What is kind of the requirements, or do you cap? Do you want to cap at a certain level, or it just depends on who and when and why? I guess.
I don't think it's something we want to cap at a level. And we don't really have like a PQS design process. You know what I mean? I'll speak for myself. I was a big supporter of what they did. I wanted to help out. I was, helping them raise money or whatever. And then meeting them and realizing we have, we're like-minded. We want to do stuff for other people. Yes, it's cool going to the game and people are like, oh, that's the hog farmers. They dress ridiculous, but it's much cooler to help kids and be a group of guys that have that same mentality. So as far as a process, it's just, we see people that are into what we do. They're helping out. They're sending us messages, what can I do to raise money? How can I do this? How can I help? And then kind of we reach out, you know what I mean? It's not really, you reach out and this is what you got to do. Like we'll reach out and we kind of have like I don't want to say like probation period, but something like that, because a lot of people think it's easy. It's not. We spend hours every single day talking to each other, planning what are we going to do this week, what are we going to do next month, what are we going to do when the football season starts for kids, how are we going to raise money to do all these things we want to do, and what are those fundraisers going to be. So it takes a ton of work, and having 4 or 5 guys doing that, I mean, I'm not going to BS. We could use more people, you know what I mean? But the number one priority is the charity. Number 2 is the fan side, you know what I mean? And a lot of people want number 2 to be number 1, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody can be a fan and anybody can dress up and cheering their team, but it's a lot more work to do the other side of it. So
that was kind of going to be my follow-up question, Chris, was People probably don't realize the amount of time that you guys put in on a weekly basis because you love it. I mean, how much time are we looking at during the week, particularly once the season gets rolling around?
Ah, man, to be honest with you, man, I couldn't put a number on it, man. It's become intertwined with my daily life. So it's
Yeah.
not like you can. I mean, there's no hour that you put on it. It's like, I'm doing this for some time, and then
how many events do you end up at a week when the season rolls around?
Oh,
How many
it
events
all
are you
just
guys doing?
depends on our budget and what we got going on and who we're sponsored with. It all depends. Maybe it's not that many, but we like during the season we like to involve events around the game. So it's usually every week, every Sunday, every Saturday we're doing
Yeah.
something. But to piggyback on what Joe was saying, it takes a lot of time and it's not for everybody, specifically because it's volunteer.
Right.
We're all doing this out of the kindness of our hearts and the passion we have for it. So there's no financial incentive for it. So it's not always cut out for people.
Yeah, I can give you an example too. I work for the government. So say I have 2 hours of my day where I'm not super busy. I'm messaging Chris like, hey, what do we got going on? What can we do? What can I help you with? Going into Canva, making things to post, or texting Jeff like, hey, I'll give you a call after work and we talk about this fundraiser we just did. It's like he said, it could be one day you do 2-3 hours and the next day it could be 6 or 7. So
Thank goodness for Canva.
right.
Yeah, I love Canva.
Shout out Canva. What is the biggest misnomer that people have about the hog farmers? What is one thing we can clear up today?
I clear 2. We don't work for the team, and other than tickets for kids with cancer, they don't give us like a perk. You know what I mean? Sure, we've met people that work there, so we have a relationship with them that we're friends with. We become friends with, but that just helps us get stuff for kids with cancer. You know what I mean? Like if we bring a family to the game, we want that family to go on the field. So if I know the guy that handles the field passes, I'm like, hey, can I get 5 field passes for this family coming to the game? And 9 times out of 10, it's like, sure. You know what I mean? Definitely, I would love to get paid by the team. I would love to not have to pay for my tickets, but that's just not the reality of the way it is. And, obviously, we're probably good publicity for them, especially over the last 20 years when they have a lot of negative stuff. So, but if they gave everybody that did, cool stuff, free tickets or whatever, they'd probably be broke because everybody would be doing it. And that's why they don't do it for us. So,
yeah. Do you guys still do much with the Hogettes? Are they still doing much of anything?
No, they retired.
Okay.
And actually, Big Mac was the last one that actually went to games. And he stopped going. He gave up his seats. When was it, Joe? 2 years ago, I think, the COVID year. So yeah, they came out for the Browns game where the team honored them, which was absolutely epic, and we got to do some stuff with them. But I think they're, quieting down and just, living the rest of their lives.
Yeah. So I don't know, like Huli on Twitter, her husband is a Hogette, but he doesn't dress up for the games. They kind of, if they're not all going dressing up, they're not dressing up. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you think it will be easier for the hog farmers now that this cloud has been lifted off the organization? Let's say do you think that will affect you guys, or you don't think that will be in effect?
I think it could hinder us a little bit as far as, you like I said, you make connections, you do stuff with people, especially like their community relations team. You build a relationship. They know what we're about. They know we're not BSing, that, tickets go to kids with cancer and stuff like that. So we have that relationship. So, if, when ownership changes, people could change in the inside the building. So it could hinder us, but we believe that how we carry ourselves, how we do our mission, that no matter who's there, we'll make that relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do, and I guess just to follow up question is, I guess more it was like if you talk to the beat reporters, they always find it funny that fans think that they love it when the team loses, and they say no, everything will be better if the team wins more. I
Yeah.
guess that's where I was getting to, was not so much the ownership. Yes, the ownership stuff. It's impossible to not feel it and see it and know that it's happening. But I
Right.
guess more like if we could ever get this team to be 10, 11 wins back in the playoffs all the time, gotta imagine that it's better for you guys as well and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that was one of the things I considered Boss Hog kind of a mentor when I was first starting this thing. That was one of the things he said to me. He's like, "You got two things that are going against you. The team sucks." So he's like, when we were doing this, the team were winning multiple Super Bowls, so it made it a lot easier. More fans, more of that. And he said, social media can be, a blessing or a curse. For the most part, I love social media, especially for our charity. It helps us broadcast what we're doing. That's how we get our support from the fans and our community. But yeah, I think to end what I was saying is, I think we would tremendously benefit from the team winning. Yeah.
How many families are you able to help generally in a year at this point?
So it's hard to put a number on that. We have, I believe last time I looked, like 220 some that we have helped, or 225, something like that we have helped. So we send out about 50 care packages every year. At least one, they can request another one. So we send out at least 50. We do the $1,000 grant every month to 12 different people. Next week, we're sending 5 families to Massanutten, like all paid. They don't have to pay for hotel, food, all the fun there. And then coming to games, I can't remember how many we brought last year, but I think we gave away over 120 tickets last year, something like that. Either through the community donating them or the team providing them to families or supporters of us. So it's hard to put a number. We try to help everybody that needs help. You know what I mean? If people hit us up, we try our best to make it happen. Yeah, my bird's in here going crazy. We try to make it happen. So
we've had plenty of dogs, never had a bird before, so I checked that one off the list. Very nice, Joe. Thank you. That's something though? It's interesting you said that, Joe. I was thinking that part of the point of doing the podcast is to get the information out on what you guys do and ways they can help. Getting tickets donated by fans that can't use them is an avenue maybe that most people don't realize.
Yeah, last year we had a pretty good number of fans hit us up, say, "Hey, I'm not going to go to this game. Let me send you the tickets." We sent a pretty good amount of people that way to games. So that's I'm always like, if I can't go to a game, I don't want some other fan in my seat, so I'm not going to risk second market selling it. I'll either would donate it to like a charity or a Washington fan to come to, or give it or sell it to a Washington fan. But yes, that's an easy way to help.
It's interesting, Chris, with the relationships that you guys make. I was thinking, Roulier was cut by the team. You guys had a fairly close relationship with him. I'm curious how you guys kind of get a bird's eye view of that aspect that usually the guys that are playing only get, right? Where you make these connections and you understand it's a business, but you were friends and that sucks. I'm curious, how that relationship works when you're able to meet some of these guys and then they leave.
I mean, it's just one of those things. You just got to remember they are human beings just like everybody else. And then when you share a common thing together for the Rouliers and his wife, they really like to support us with supporting these kids. They helped us one time. They came out to one of our Top Golf events, and they spoke, and we spoke, and they got to meet the families. And when that happens, man, 9 times out of 10, you're hooked, man, because you see it, you feel it, you see that these families need help. So yeah, we built a really good relationship with them for the charity, which blossomed into a friendship, and you just get to see that they're just regular people, man. This is their job. Right. So if they do bad, they're going to do bad, whatever, if they do good, they're good. But either way, when you become more than just a fan to player relationship, more of a friendship, you kind of get to see like the ins and outs and some of the stuff that a regular fan that's not, I don't want to say a regular fan, we're all fans, but a typical person that's not a friend with him would see.
Yeah.
Right. And not to give up too much personal stuff, but when they drafted a center, Chase and Sarah knew what that meant. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it sucks, but like Chris said, it's life. They're humans, and unfortunately, that's the business side of things. The relationship will continue, though. I used to pick my favorite players by stats or numbers or touchdowns, but now that I've met a couple and seen the other side of them that not a lot of people get, the size of their heart. That's why Chase will always be one of my favorites. Charles will always be one of my favorites, no matter how long he's here. You know what I mean?
Has the work with the charity affected the way you view the game?
For me, no. Once I'm in my seat, it's full fandom. I'm screaming. I'm yelling. I want them to win every game. I expect them. I think they're going to win every game. So that hasn't changed for me.
Yeah. For me, it has. I was that guy when they would lose. I would be mad from Monday to the next Sunday, and probably some explicatives in there when I was talking about them. You know what I mean? But then I realized people are going through some stuff a lot worse than a win or loss on a football field. And did I have fun? You know what I mean? Going to the games with Chris and the fellas, and my wife and Jeff's wife. They're bringing family. Chris's mom. It's fun. I've never went and not had fun. Even that last game with all them Eagles fans in our stadium, I still have fun. So I think Chris says it best. He says, going to the game, I'm going to eat the cake. If they win, I get that cake with icing. So
yeah, that actually came from Rally Captain. I stole that from him quite a few years ago. So
shout out to Rally Captain.
Yeah, shout out Rally Captain.
and I love extra icing too. So that's
yeah, I like the icing.
Nothing wrong with the icing. What is if you could do one thing, what the next step for what you'd like to see the hog farmers achieve, get to, like, what is the I found that for people that are successful, there's always a next step. There's a goal to be reached. What is that next step for the hog farmers?
You want to go? Or you want me to go?
Well, it's a multitude of things. That's a complex question. So it's a complex question. We have a strategiig plan that we have for the charity, and there's a multitude of steps we would like to get to. So the short steps, well, obviously the main goal is to help more families, blossom the things we do well, expand them. And then there's so many things that come with that, getting more people sponsorships to, help us do this. There's a whole bunch of things. So that's the short answer would be just to expand what we do now. Good, very well. Expand it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, one of our goals was we wanted to raise $100,000 in a single year. I think this year we're going to smoke that.
Oh yeah.
So because the more,
and that's not a small piece of change, by the way, either.
No,
It's
especially
not.
for 4 or 5 guys,
Yes.
It's a good bit. And it does a lot too.
It's
You know what I
incredible.
mean?
It's
Uh,
incredible.
like Chris said, long-term goal is to do more, to do bigger stuff, to do uh, any moment where you can have these kids, get the opportunity to be kids and not, be the sick kid.
Yeah.
That you put that smile on their face. Uh, those are the amazing moments, So expanding what we do, reaching more people, and then shoot, who knows? Maybe someday impacting where these kids get more funding than they get, because they basically take adult medications because there's not a whole lot of studies on kids with cancer, so they take
Sure.
adult medication, so it ravages their body. You know what I mean? Like, uh, pretty much every kid that has cancer, even when they beat cancer, they have multitude of side effects from it because the medicine is so dang strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would love to see them get more funding for cancer research for kids.
Other than going to the website and donating, as we kind of wrap up here, what are some things coming up on the schedule that people can go and do? And again, other ways that people can contribute to the hog farmers.
As far as the schedule, we have, like Joe had mentioned slightly earlier, we're sending 5 families out to Massanutten Water Park just for a weekend free, all expense paid trip, just to relax and get their minds off the hospital, chemo, work. And the next week, we're actually sending 2 families out to OTAs, which is I cannot wait for. We're pretty much doing like a Make-A-Wish for each of the kids with the team. So look out for that. It's going to be really cool. I forgot the rest of the question.
Well, like I know people can go to Amazon, right? And you've got a link.
No, Amazon
is that
discontinued their program, which really sucked.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we switched. We used to have PayPal. We switched to Network for Good. They have, you can do, you can go to our link there. You can do monthly donations, small amount. We have, we're raising money for gaming cards. We donated a gaming card to UVA Children's Hospital two years ago.
Yeah,
two years ago, and the feedback we got from that is, that's the most used thing in that hospital.
What is it, Joe?
So it's basically a hospital grade gaming card. Like it has like a
mobile
PS5 or
it's
Xbox
Xbox.
One
Yep.
with all the
talking
games
about cards and checkers here.
Yeah, with all the games loaded on it. So you don't have to have disc or nothing like that. So, and it can wheel right to the bed and they plug in the wall. So pretty much any kid can play. You know what I mean? So we're doing 2 more.
What does one of those cost? $offhand?
$3,500.
Yeah. Okay. $3,500. So we're doing 2 this year. We're going to send one to CHKD in Norfolk, Virginia, and the other one to
Inova Children's Hospital up in Northern Virginia.
Yes,
that's the plan.
We have we're working on some details of a putt-putt fundraiser in Northern Virginia for August. So we're going to do a raffle October timeframe, and we hope to have like a surplus of that we did not budget for. So for Christmas, we can do something really cool for a lot of families. You know what I mean? So that's what we're kind of talking through right now. Also looking currently, Charles and Jen Leno through their charity Beyond the Entertainer, they sponsor our $1,000 monthly grant. So basically, they're the ones that donate that $1,000 every month that we give out to family. We're looking for maybe another business or person or whatever to sponsor that. You know what I mean? So if there's anybody out there, but in that process, that's a process itself. It's kind of, we do that every month. We take like 20 nominations and then we have to pick one.
Right.
Sometimes
you pick them out of the hat or you throw darts. How does that work there?
No, so we kind of have,
first in line.
Every one of these families have struggles they go through. You know what I mean? You kind of, you take what they send you. It could be I'm behind on my bills because I'm driving to the hospital every day for my kid, or in addition to the medical expenses, I crashed my car, or or we had one who tornado took their house out. Was that in Alabama? Their home
The
got
voting
demolished
process, all the board members, they read them all, and you vote your top one, your number one, and then
individually.
you individually, and then the majority, if majority rules, that's who we go with. If not,
Yeah, so we submit our top 2 or 3, and if they match, that makes it easy. And if they don't, then we got to discuss further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually they match though.
And obviously they can go straight to the website and donate, and there's merch on there that they can buy. How many road games are you guys going to try to get to this year?
Well,
and do you have a specific way you choose the road games?
I do. I'm going to less. I've been going to probably most of them every year, but this year I got girls in cheer, braces, so it's got to slow down this year. But I like to go to stadiums that I haven't been to before, so and or where I can make them back-to-back games. So I'm going to go to Denver week 2, and then probably Philadelphia, which is I think week 4, and then week 6 in Atlanta.
I've not been to the Dome down in Atlanta, but I heard it's beautiful. I'd like to
we went. It is nice.
I'd like to get out to Seattle sometime too. That thing looks
beautiful. Amazing stadium.
How many have you been to, Chris? You've been to all of them now? How many you got?
No, I missed Pittsburgh because of COVID.
Okay.
And there's like 2 more that I haven't been to, but I've been to most of them. I know there's a couple of the new stadiums I haven't been to. The Rams new stadium I haven't been to. And there's another one that's new that I haven't been to.
Las Vegas. Have you been to the one in Vegas?
I went to Vegas. Yeah. We went to Vegas. Yeah, that was over the top. That stadium's almost too much.
Right.
Is how much is going on in there.
Yeah, it's too fancy for me.
Yeah.
Are you excited? What do you think they'll do something fancy like that for our next stadium, or you think they'll keep it more low key?
I don't think it will be Raiders fancy, but I mean, you got to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. So it's gonna be nice. You know what I mean? I would be shocked if it didn't have a dome or at least retractable roof. It's gonna be nice. You know what I mean? I do know that they liked a lot of aspects of Atlanta Stadium. So if it looks like that, I'd be good to go.
You can't have a Super Bowl if you don't have a dome, right? So it feels like you're kicking yourself in the foot if you don't put a dome on.
Right, for sure. I mean, you got to have a Super Bowl in DC. You know what I mean? So your next stadium has to have a dome.
When they were the team that went out, it's been 2 years now. They did this tour of a whole bunch of stadiums. One of the ones that I was told was the ones they wanted to like really look at was that they loved to mirror was the Golden State Warriors Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really know much about it, but I guess they love that. I guess the flow and all that. I don't know. So maybe I'll look into that one.
I think they're looking at aspects of, like fandom time, whatever that arena has that fans think are cool. They want to do, they want to do something like that.
But we're gonna have a new owner coming, so he got heavy pocket. He might make a crazy stadium.
He might. I'm for it. I'm for whatever.
I'm for whatever. The season ticket holders don't have to pay a hefty PSL for.
Well, see, that's a totally different conversation, and one that I think a whole lot of people don't realize. Chris, let's take like 3 minutes and tell the people what it is, because it's important and it's coming. Like I forget who I was. Rick Snyder was on one time, and he was saying that's what they do out in Los Angeles and the new one in Las Vegas. Take just a couple of minutes, Chris, and tell people what it is, because it's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a PSL, the personal license, seat license, and you pay a one-time fee to own the rights to that seat.
That doesn't include the ticket price. That's just
and on top of that, you have to pay for your season tickets. And some stadiums, their bottom PSL is like $5,000, and depending on where you want to sit, it can go up to like 50, 60. So from experience, I know, because I go to a lot of games and I talk to a lot of different fans, it's pushed them out
Right.
to be able to be a season ticket holder. So I hope that doesn't happen.
We talked to a fan in Vegas. I believe she said the family had like 12, 17 season tickets when it was in Oakland, and they had them for years and years and years and years in the black hole. Since they moved to Vegas and they had PSLs, she could only afford 2 seats.
Right.
So she went from I believe she said 17 to 2. And then another thing with PSLs, you own the seat basically. So if, like, say Beyonce played there, it just guarantees you can buy a ticket to Beyonce. Not that you get to go to Beyonce for free. Hey, you own the seat. Do you want a ticket? Yes. Then you pay for that ticket.
It's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard.
Ridiculous.
In my life. I own the chair, but I got to buy a ticket. Makes zero
right,
sense.
right.
That's smart, but I think I got through on that one. It's ridiculous, and I hate it, and it's just going to, to your point, it's going to convince more and more people that watching it from my couch is the way to go, and that sucks so bad because that's not how it should be.
Right. So I know what one of the side effects of that in Vegas are. A lot of the hotels bought the season tickets, so when I come as a Washington fan, I could go to the game. So that's why when we went, it was pretty close to 50-50 Washington and the Raiders fans. And, it wasn't like we are world beaters then. We were just kind of around 500. So
do you remember when there was a big deal about the teams alcohol and their food being priced up versus like the Atlanta Falcons where they had like $1 hot dogs? We actually got stopped by, don't remember who specifically, somebody high up on the chain for their team. And they asked us, like, how do you like the concession stands and all that? Well, come to find out, they were able to drop the prices because of the PSLs that the season ticket holders are paying for. So it's like, keep that.
Right. I'll pay a little extra.
Keep that.
I'll bring my own Coke.
I'll bring my own hot dog.
It's incredible. Let's wrap like this. The team went 8-1 or 7-8-1 last year, whatever the numbers are. Now they've added an extra game and messes me all up. Team is going to be better than that this year or worse than that?
I think our opponents, quarterback wise, are a little bit better this year. However, I think if we get a quarter more out of our quarterback than Heineke gave us last year, if that defense meets its expectations, we should be able to be better than last year. I'm hoping around 10 wins, maybe more. But
I say it's any given Sunday, they're going to win every game. I expect them to win it.
That's why I really wasn't even going to ask you, Chris, because I already knew the answer.
Every single game. It's any given Sunday. I don't care what quarterback's out there. Go win the game.
I love it. And Chris, as much as I love your hat, Joe, you really came today with the with the headwear. That's a beautiful, beautiful hat. Guys, I appreciate it. We'll put the link to the Hog Farmer stuff up when the video drops here in a little bit. I tried to get them all. I got 2 pretty good ones. I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Doug.
You got it.